How are we doing, guys? And welcome back to 𝐼𝐍. It is your second player ratings of the season. I'm here with my man Phil. Let's get into this then, because we are a little bit on a timer on this one today. So let's get straight into it, Phil. General feelings on the game.
Probably quite similar to most people's, but I think I'm seeing it in a positive light. Look, 4 points from first two games. I think if you'd have offered that before a ball was kicked, we'd have all taken it. It's what I predicted. I think it's what you predicted as well when we've done the predictions on both pre-game videos as well. So yeah, I'm pleased with the points tally we've got so far. We go into Chelsea with unbeaten. Look at the table, look where Man United are. That's always nice as well. But yeah, obviously we were 2-0 up. We've ended up giving 2 goals away and we come away with a point, which is disappointing. There's bits that we'll have to get into on why that keeps happening. Why, when we are in a 2-goal lead, do we keep doing similar to what we did in the Cagliari friendly, where we just sort of throw 2 goals in? That's a concern. But look, we've managed to score 2 goals in both our first 2 games. We've shown that we can score goals. That's good. Tactically, I think we've looked a hell of a lot better than we did at the end of last season. It looks like it's come together, which is great. And yeah, look, there's lots of positives that I think we need to take from it. We have dropped 2 points, which is a shame, but as starts to the season go, compared to last season, I don't really think we're in a position to complain too much. Do you?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I had the bad feeling as soon as it went to 2-1. I had that bad feeling about it because I just think I don't know if we're suited to protecting Leeds in that kind of sense, like a Wolves maybe, in terms of holding out for 1-0s and tight 2-1s and that lot. I just don't think that's us. I think we have to always fight fire with fire. So I do disagree with. I think obviously in terms of the subs that's one of the main talking points. Could we have made the subs quicker? Could we have not? Yeah, I do kind of think there's going to be times this season where we're going to have games like this a little bit, where it might just be that little bit of inexperience tells. When it goes to 2-1, we do start to panic a little bit. It's just the inexperience of the team. I don't think it's a case of we should have gone in and just sat back. And some people argue we did that anyway, going to a back 5 late on in the game. But I'm the same as you, mate. I'm looking at the positives. We scored 4 goals in 2 games. Could have had more. We've missed some good chances as well on top of that. We are missing some key attacking players. So certainly from an attacking point of view, I think it's played out as I've expected, really. It probably exceeded my expectation. I think we're entertaining. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Maybe defensively, that of course is the weakness at this moment in time. But I think that's more down to the system than anything. But yeah, I think we're getting there, mate. I think we're getting there. We're only 2 games in, but
like you said as well a minute ago, though, the subs thing is a massive point. Like, last week, he got so much praise for obviously bringing Click on, and Click changed the game. And I think if there's one complaint that I would have, and everyone seems to have, and it is quite valid, is when that first goal goes in, I think the sub should have been made then. To be honest, for me, as soon as we went 2-0 up, I think we kind of dropped deep and just tried to sit back and defend a 2-0, which, like you said, it's not what we do best. We've seen it over a long period of time now, to be honest, with Leeds, where if we are in a 2-goal lead, as soon as 1 goal goes in, we all know it's going to go straight to 2-2. No one really feels confident in us holding on to that lead. So yeah, I didn't like to see us go defensive, and then I also was annoyed to see the lack of subs. So Marsh did well last week, not so well on the subs this week. And to be honest, you've got to praise 𝐼𝐍 as well, like bringing on 𝐷𝐄𝐄 changed the game, a player that we were linked with, and a striker. Shame that conversation's had to come back around, but I'm sure we'll get onto that when we do Bamford.
No, absolutely, mate. Let's get into the ratings because obviously we are a little bit tight for time on this one. So let's go straight into Illan Meslier. I don't really think Meslier was at fault for either goal. Distribution-wise, again, I've not really got too many complaints. Phil, what are you saying on Meslier?
I'll be honest, I thought distribution was massively improved. There was some really good balls when Bamford was still on the pitch anyway, like low-driven balls into the centre circle, which Bamford could link up with Rodrigo and really get us going. So I thought that was a big improvement. I do sort of hold him slightly accountable for their first. I think he can do a bit better against Joe Aribo. Comes out, spreads himself, and Aribo just sort of walks around him really easily. For me, I think he's got to at least sort of do something there. I know some people will say, well, he's forced him to make a decision. He's gone the other way and he's just...
I know what you're saying. I think maybe he dived a little bit too early, but I still think it's very good. attacking rather than bad goalkeeping. Me personally, I think it's just very good skill off Aribo. And I know it looks bad on the camera, but I just think that's just really nice bit of skill off Aribo.
Oh yeah, it is. It's good skill, but I think for me, I would have liked to have seen him obviously not let him go around him and score. So that's why I haven't gone as high. I think I had him at like 6.5, but I don't think I'd go any higher than that.
Yeah, I think we're about the same on this. I think we kind of round up to about a 7 on this. I think mostly 7s on here, and 6.5, 7. We'll go 7. We'll go 7 to move this along. Let's go on to... we'll try and move on quickly on this one. Rasmus Kristensen, because bad game. Let's be honest. It was a bad game for Rasmus Kristensen. I do think there's been some massive over-exaggerations on social media in terms of 2 games in. We're getting all these appraisals about him as a signing and all this. I think that's too over the top. But this was a struggle for Rasmus Kristensen. Particularly, I thought, after we went 2-0 up, they started to attack more on that side of the pitch, and Adam Armstrong sort of drifted onto that side and caused a couple of problems. I mean, what's your general feeling on Kristensen? I think I've seen some low ratings here early on, 5s, but you've gone even lower than that, mate.
Yeah, no, I went really, really, really low. I'm not going to lie. Throughout the whole game, I thought even the first hour, I think we played well as a team up until an hour. But for me, he was having a stinker the whole game. And look, I'm a big fan of the signing. I quite like it, and I think it will work. I think it'll come good. But I think so far from the first 2 games, it's wrong to say that he hasn't had a huge part to play in 2 of the 3 goals we've conceded this season. It would be wrong to say that. Like, he's at fault for 2 of them. Gets muscled off the ball far too easily in obviously the Wolves game, and just Armstrong runs off him in this one. So yeah, he's not.
It was a bad miss. That was a bad miss.
Yeah, and then obviously he's missed as well. I don't know. I think that's just a miscommunication between him and Dan James at the back post. But yeah, I think realistically, he's not been here all that long. It's his first 2 Premier League games. You've got to give him some time to, like this says, acclimatise to the pace of the Premier League. And, got to remember as well, it was 30-odd degrees the other day. So, yeah, give him time. But, yeah, I gave him 3.5. I think, like you said, best to just move on.
Well, yeah, I went a little bit higher, and I think we averaged out at about 4.5. So I'm happy to settle for on a 4 out of 10. I just think it was a bad game for Rasmus. But listen, obviously, with the way it is between now and the World Cup, games are coming thick and fast, so we can get straight back into it. I think that's the best thing. When you've had a shocker like that on Saturday, get straight back into it. And listen, Chelsea, it's an interesting test. I know Chelsea, you say the quality's better, but what a confidence boost if he can put in a stronger performance. And listen, he's had a decent pre-season. We'll see how things go on that. I don't want to get too over the top on that. Centre-backs, Robin Koch, I think the first goal is a bit similar to the goal we conceded against Wolves, just overcommitted himself, and then that space opens up at the far post, for someone to slide the ball across, basically. And I just think both centre-backs, to be honest, could probably deal with that situation a bit better.
Yeah.
I think we both agree on this. I just thought he was okay on Saturday. Decent average, 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, you could probably do both centre-backs in one, in all honesty.
You can't, really.
Yeah. Up until an hour, mate, I actually thought they were both on like 7.5. I thought they were both having quite a good game, but then obviously the game turns with that substitution and our lack of substitution. And then obviously they go and score 2 goals, which would bring the ratings for any centre-back pairing down. But generally speaking, I thought the passing on display from both was good. The defensive line, which I thought would be a weakness for us, obviously with the pacing behind, wasn't really the problem. Our defensive frailty seems to be exactly what it was last season, which is in those fullback areas.
I disagree a little bit on the defensive line. I did think later, as the game went on and got a little bit more stretch, I did think we showed that little bit of an experience, when to push, when to drop. And
is that when the system changes, though? Is that when the system changes and then Stroud?
A little bit, yeah. There is that, but the second goal I think just comes from the defensive line. Some people are pushing up, some people are dropping off, and he's being played on side. Walker Peters.
I think it's just Harrison falling asleep in a position he's not really comfortable in. The second one.
There's a little bit of that, but I did think the line was a little bit too high on that second goal. That's just me personally. Maybe the first goal you could argue as well. Adam Armstrong catches us in behind as well. We defended on the
I
edge.
think both goals yesterday for me were exactly the same as what we saw in all of the goals we conceded after Marsh took over last season. They all came from fullback areas. In fact, every goal I think we've conceded this season, again, you can say the same thing. It all comes from either right back or left back not being able to do their job defensively for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, I listen, I agree with that, but I think that's because there's such a big offensive focus on the fullbacks in terms of pushing up and that lot, and that's why I think we sometimes find that from time to time. But yeah, I just think the centre backs have got to do a little bit better as well. For me personally, I don't think it's just on the fullbacks, and that was the only point I was really making. But I do agree that both were better than the fullbacks in this game.
Yeah, most likely. Are we going 6 on both then?
Yeah. I think it's a bog standard 6 out of 10 really. Neither good, neither bad. Decent. Pascal, again, I was kind of same as you on this.
Yeah.
Pretty average. Okay going forward. Okay defensively. Going forward, I didn't, again, as you'd probably expect of Pascal, really.
Yeah. Obviously, gets the assist and probably should have a goal if Rodrigo wasn't the most selfish man in the world. I think that's one thing as well I would say in terms of the play itself. If you look at both of our goals, we could have scored the same goal twice in the game. So like Rodrigo's goal in the first half, Bamford had that exact same attempt in the first half. And then obviously the Pascal goal, Kristensen had the exact same attempt in. So it's the scripted movements, but it's gelling. And obviously, I think from corners in particular, we look really dangerous, which is a first for Leeds in quite a while. But we'll get on to Rodrigo. But obviously, from corners and set pieces in general, Pascal's going to have a massive part to play. So I'd say maybe bump him up ever so slightly just for getting involved in that bit, but yeah, I wouldn't really be going much higher than 6.5 at best.
Yeah. I think, are we going to negotiate on a 6?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of the average between us both. I think similar to Llorente and Pascal. I'm not sorry, Llorente and Robin Koch. Let's move on. Let's move on to the midfield.
Yeah.
Again, I think for 60, 70 minutes of the game has been in total control. And to be honest, I'd probably be looking at 8s for both Adams and Rocker. And I'm happy to do both in the same thing here. But I can't really ignore the fact that we did lose that momentum in midfield in the second bit of the game, later on. So I've kind of gone 7. I thought both were good, maybe just not quite as good as what they were against Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers I sent to you actually at the end, like I had to negotiate with myself on how to bring them down because they looked too high. I had everyone really, really high up, and I brought everyone down by like a 1 or a 0.5. But the two midfielders, I did have both of them on over 8s at one point, and I think if the substitutions came when they should have done, and we saw maybe 𝐾 and Forshaw come on, or 𝐾 in particular, I know Rocker does seem to tire a bit quicker than Adams. For me, if one of those subs, if not both, would have happened, they would have both got 8s because the way they both obviously won the ball back numerous times. The passing through the lines was very good, especially from Rocker. But yeah, I'm exactly the same as Gale, 7.5 for both. But if you want to negotiate down to a 7, I don't mind. But if you want to bump up to an 8, I'm happy either way. You're on mute.
I went 7. You went 7.5. I think we can negotiate to 7. We can negotiate to 7, surely.
Or 7.25.
No. That's too complicated, Phil. Too complicated. Brendan Aronson. Again, just not quite as good as Wolves, really, for me. Similar to Adams and Rocker in the sense that superb first game, decent second game, 7 out of 10 for me. Classic, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, again, 0.5 higher. I thought he was very good, but, hard to sort of be as good as he was the week before. But he's kind of going to do a James Milner type thing, isn't he? Of classic 7.5 out of 10 every week. He looks really reliable, very much. I like this. This is good. Oscar won't like it, but I do. I thought he was good. He's very... The press from the front four in general, I've already spoke about it numerous times so far this season. I think it really impresses me the way that they've gelled so early, and it looks really fluid the way that they move between. And obviously, I think we'll come on to the the way things will change around shortly when we go over with Rodrigo and Bamford. But I think Aaronson, when he does eventually move into that central role in the 10, I'll be intrigued to see if that makes it even more exciting, because he's looked really good on the right, but obviously there's a Sinisterra to come in at some point as well, isn't there? So it's going to be interesting.
No, I agree. I think when he gets into that main position, I think he possibly will be one of our best players, if not our best player, really. Let's move on. So I think we can agree on a 7 there for Aaronson.
Yeah.
Rodrigo, who obviously started at 10, then moved into the centre forward spot for a little bit. Again, he's got to be man of the match for me. Poached both goals really well, really nice. It's what I kind of expected from the off, really, with Rodrigo in terms of poaching goals. And just 2 nice little finishes. 8 out of 10, pretty easy, simple 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, again, me and Gail's been looking at my notes here. I've got an 8.5 written down for Rodrigo. Look, it doesn't reflect well on the kind of morals of the man when he's willing to steal candy from a baby, quite like he did off Pascal Stroke with that goal.
No, it's good. It's good. I like that.
But I mean, you know me, Oscar, I'm a striker as well. I would have definitely done exactly the same thing. Selfish people, us strikers, is what it is. But I think generally speaking, he was good. Look, first half, he still had his Rodrigo moments where a few heavy touches, give the ball away here and there. But I do see what's planned for him. And I think, like I said with Pascal, Rodrigo is playing a huge role in these new set pieces. The man at the front post flicking everything on. Kristensen should have scored from the one that he flicked on for him. We've got the top scorer in the league. We don't need another striker, do we? We've got one. But me and you said the other day, Oscar, about if one person's likely to come out of this team when everyone's fully fit, the person that has to fight for his position is Rodrigo. And I'm starting to think, obviously, we'll get on to Bamford and him being made of glass, but if Rodrigo can go and take that number 9 role at the moment, while it's up in the air whether we are going to go out and sign a striker, it's up in the air whether Bamford's going to be fit enough to actually play a full part in the season. I don't know, but if Bamford was to come out of that side, Rodrigo was to go in the 9, and Aaronson move into 10 and Sinisterra on the right at the moment, that would fill me with confidence. I mean, the way that he's playing at the moment, I know that's a massive change from what I've always said. But
after 2 games, but no, I agree.
It's hard not to be confident when he's got 3 goals in 2 games. It's
6 in 3 if you include
exactly, and to be honest,
7 in 4 actually.
If you want to make me shut up, this is very much the way to do it, Rodrigo. So well done. Yeah, fair enough.
Little pat on the back off Phil. We'll get more enthusiastic as the weeks go on. It won't be long since he's wearing Rodrigo. He's got the Rodrigo shirt on soon. It won't be long.
It won't be happening, but yeah.
So let's move on. Let's move on to Jack Harrison, because Jack Harrison gets himself another assist. He's near the top, if not joint top, of the assist. With Kevin KDB. Am I right in saying?
Yeah, and double what he got last season as well.
Yeah, there you go. He's lovely delivery for the goal. I will add that. Lovely delivery. As threatening as ever on the ball. It depends if you want to take a mark off him or not on the second goal. He does dive in. He does panic a little bit. He is caught out of position.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it from a point of view of that Jack Harrison isn't a left back or a left wing back. I want to look at Jack Harrison as a winger. And I thought as a winger, he did his job to a really good standard, really decent standard. So 7, 8 out of 10 for me. Yeah,
I mean, I think 6 is harsh from Justin here. I went 8. I'll be the same as Justin in this comment. I think if Rodrigo hadn't have got the 2 goals, and obviously if that last Southampton equaliser hadn't happened, I would have had Harrison as man of the match. I think he's probably one of our most exciting players going forward. Him and Aaronson on either wing. We've got a really deadly combination on both sides at the moment. So I think there's been a massive improvement in Jack Harrison over the summer. I think that obviously we spoke about the daft thing about changing shirt number, but I do think he's taken on some sort of extra responsibility with Rafinha gone now, in terms of he's trying to make things happen. And the decision-making stuff isn't getting lobbed at him as much. I think the only thing that he really did wrong was just getting caught out with Kyle Walker-Peters sneaking in behind him at the end. And that's, as we know, the substitution should have happened by that point. Harrison looked knackered. And we've changed system to one that I don't really think suits us either. So take those things out. I think it was a brilliant performance from Harrison. But if we are going to be switching our formation to that kind of system again to manage a 2-goal lead, then obviously he is going to have to improve in that position. But I'd rather just see us not do that, to be honest, than give any digs to Harrison over it.
Okay. Well, let's agree on an 8 there. Let's round this one up and say an 8 out of 10. That's fair enough. Patrick Bamford obviously only played 28 minutes to be precise. Thoughts?
While he was on the pitch, obviously good-ish. Like, there's not too much to write home about. I mean, there was the one shot that's very similar to Rodrigo's goal, where Rodrigo's out on the left and whips that ball in. Bamford gets front post and just hits the side netting. I had him at like 6.5 before he went off, but I think more importantly is the conversation that his groin strain, whatever it is that he's done, is going to force us to have, or I really hope is forcing Angus, Victor and Rads to have, in terms of, we can't ignore this now. Just go out and get a fucking striker. I know it's not go out and just grab anybody, but we saw Joffrey obviously out with a dead leg. We've seen Bamford go off injured after half an hour. We've seen Dan James end up front. Let's go out and get a striker, because the only question that Bamford going off injured sort of raises, Oscar, and honestly, tell me the truth. Do you think he's going to play more than 30 games this season? Do you think he's going to play more than 25, more than 20? Can we rely on him to be our main number 9? And I saw a tweet earlier, which I'm hard done to agree with, but instead of going out and finding someone to supplement Bamford, should we actually be finding someone to replace him? I don't really know. I'm not too far off that, to be honest. Not because I don't think Bamford's capable. I just don't think he's going to be around anywhere near as often as we need him to be.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and certainly in terms of game time, it is a concern. 2 games in, obviously in picking up an injury. Well, less than 2 games in the game, and a third in, he's picking up an injury, which is obviously a concern. No matter how serious or not serious it is, that is a concern at the end of the day. So yeah, I know. Listen, I've kind of always made this point in terms of, if Bamford, you can guarantee or have some kind of assurance that he's going to play football. Ultimately, we don't have that, so it doesn't really matter. I do think, anyway, we probably need 3 out-and-out strikers. I think the interesting thing to me will be if, assuming Rodrigo does go into the number 9 position against Chelsea, on the basis that Paddy and Joffrey aren't available, then we'll see how that one goes. But still, even then, you need depth in the 10 role. So ultimately, it all points to one thing, that maybe we should be looking at a striker, or we should be looking at a striker, whichever way you want to put it. Yeah. I don't want it just to be any old striker, as you said, Phil. If we have to wait a little bit until later in the deadline to get who we want, I'm happy to do that. I just don't want us to rush into anything. So I do think when we do make, not so much panic signings, I don't think we make panic signings, but when we make signings late, sometimes we do rush in a little bit, just from an outsider looking in, in terms of they have tended to be our poorer kind of signings in terms of success. But yeah, I think ultimately, if Bamford is coming off 1 1/3 games into the season, then I've got a massive concern there, especially if back up to him out and out is just a 19-year-old who's also picked up an injury. So I do think we need another striker.
I think it's telling that in the press conferences and stuff, Marsh is mentioning Mateo Joseph like as a serious option as a striker, because is that all we've got? Bamford and Joffrey are both seemingly like picking up niggles here and there. Is Mateo Joseph going to get game time, or is that where he thinks that we're going to have to dig down into when it comes into the middle of, well, I know December this year isn't exactly what it normally is, but when we are midway through the season and the injuries are there, who are we going to turn to? Is Rodrigo just going to go up there? Is Dan James going to go up there? Or just come on, go out and get a striker. Like you said, I don't mind if it's on deadline day. I'm not saying today, but just please go get one.
Yeah, that's the main thing, not rushing in. So Let's go on to the subs. Let's just go with numbers for the subs, just looking at what the time is, because they didn't really play many minutes anyway. I think James is probably the only one who's played a considerable amount of minutes in this game.
Yeah.
I actually thought pretty good, to be fair. I actually thought on Saturday, yeah, I've gone 7, to be fair. I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah, I was slightly lower, 6.5. But yeah, obviously that one chance with Harrison slotting him in and forces a good save out of 𝐉𝐻. Yeah, I was happy with Dan James. After that shot, there wasn't really much else that he did. I can't be honest. I can't say that there was much else that happened. But yeah, I thought of the subs, obviously he got the most minutes in his legs, played all right. 𝐾𝐄 looked okay as well when he came on, but I really don't have anything to say about the other two. Sinisterra and Forshaw. I don't think anything really.
Yeah.
I don't remember them even touching the ball. To be honest, it was too late.
Well, they did literally play 2 minutes. Came on in the 88th minute. So I don't really think we can give any ratings there, can we, in terms of those players? James, I think we'll round up to a 7, 6.5 and 7. Let's round up to a 7. But yeah, that's. I mean, just before we do just come off, all I'd say about the striker situation is that some of the names I've seen mentioned in terms of more pay, it's not for me. It's not for me. It's more a case of just because Brighton don't want him doesn't mean that we should, kind of thing. I think if we want to...
It's got to be someone that fits. They have to fit. It has to be what we're after.
Personality and playing style-wise.
Yeah. I think Che Adams fits, but I don't think he's coming. I think he's going to Everton, so... someone that can play that kind of role and do what Bamford does, but I'll be honest, I don't have the answers myself. So good luck to 𝐅𝐻𝐶 and 𝐾𝐄 and Rads for going out and finding whoever it is. But
it doesn't have to be someone in the Premier League either. It doesn't have to be like Morpay, Watkins, Adams. I've seen mentioned. It doesn't have to be someone in the Premier League. In terms of the recruitment we've done so far, hasn't been players from the Premier League, and they seem to have fitted in the most part, fitted in pretty well so far. So I guess that's just my little point on that. But guys, Phil, unless you've got anything else to add, mate.
No, mate. Just if you've been watching, guys, thank you for being with us. Smash the like, as Oscar always says. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back with you again later on in the week. I won't, but Oscar will.
We will, with the big match preview. And yeah, as Phil said, exactly that. A little bit earlier today, guys. Apologies for that. That is my fault why I've had to go a little bit earlier today. But we will be back to normal on Monday later on in the evening. I'm a bad man, but you can watch this back. It's only half an hour. You can watch this back. I'm sure some of you will be watching this back. Thank you for watching this back. Anyone watching this in the future. And we will leave it there. Let us know how Leeds get on Sunday as well if you are watching from the future. We will leave it there, guys. Anyway, cheers.